Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the USID board meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:40 p.m. To our roll call. I'm here, our president is here, our treasurer is here, our secretary is here, and two of our members, one is out, and the other is away somewhere, so out of town. This is, so just for your information, we have our laptops up here that have all the agendas, minutes, and documents that we'll be discussing today. And so please come up and take one of those Chromebooks to follow us on the agenda with our documents. I'm going to open up for public comment at this time. Is there any forms for public comment? No. Are we? Yeah. So we have a presentation that we're going to move on.
I'll go just for a second, if I could. You know, with the tech charge, I guess I was hoping that for these board meetings, they can just be posted online on the website. It's not really that hard to do. I'll do it for you if you want, free of charge, just to make it available. That'd be great.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to have a presentation from one of our classes as a first public comment. We'd like to get them to their home and make homework and all those good things. So please, if we have the presentation. There's another one here.
You can grab it.
Hello, we are from the C2 class. My name is Ben.
I'm Donna.
I'm Jess. Rosario.
I'm Ariana. And I'm Ayala.
Wally Waste Not Award Presentation to Oasis Board, March 22nd, 2018. We are doing this so we can earn $2,000 for our end of the year field trip to Mono Lake.
We did these posters for double printing, and yeah. We did these posters for natural resources and over packaging and over packaging.
We learned about the cost of items and the impacts of the packaging, and figured out other alternatives. We also wrote letters to manufacturers so that so we could see if they would change their packaging. We wrote them to overpackage places. We also did an art project where we went around the school collecting trash, and then out of that trash, we made art with it. This project was about donating supplies to the SPCA for cats and dogs, and
This one is, we're all holding up cat supplies for the SPCA to donate.
Ranger Tammy also came and presented to us, and she told us about population connection activity on human impacts of the ocean.
Here we did recycling plants, so we got one plant and the babies, and then we planted it again.
For one of our class assemblies, we did a fashion show with recycled items, and here's the video.
After we went to all classes and we looked if they had recycling or not, or trash.
Okay, so this is when we learned that. This is when we learned about recycling.
Here we recycled and we're collecting bottles from classes so that we can earn money for our Mono Lake trip.
We had a guest assembly called the Recycling Wizard Assembly, where he taught us about recycling and other things related to it. We also made an e-waste container that is in our engineering room, and anyone from the school can bring cans and other things to donate. We have a glue crew bin, and we put old glue sticks and glue bottles to be recycled.
We also did a marker bin.
We made battery containers for old batteries, and
Here we got in front of the classes while they were eating lunch, and we were teaching them what goes in what container. So we had compost, waste, recycling, and trash.
For trash, we got 20 pounds in recycling. And recycling, we got 3 pounds. And for food waste, we mostly got apples, and they had a few bites out of them. That's when the people came over and showed us the worms.
got worms for compost, and we put food scraps.
We made posters for compost.
We wrote letters to newspaper editors. Or the editor. Thank you for your time.
Students Valley Recycles Molly Waste Route is a grant opportunity every 2 years, and we were able to get it this year. So they had a whole bunch of activities, there were a few more that they needed to do. They were learning a lot in class and then teaching the rest of the school. And then we submit it by the end of this month. We get $2,000 in April, and they'll be using that to go to Molly Lake for their end of year trip. Any questions about something you missed? Yeah.
One of the slides said that a student had gotten a response from the manufacturer.
Yeah, one student got a
Hear
response.
about that?
Yeah, so only one got a response, sadly, other people did not write in, or write back to them. And what he ended up giving were a bunch of cards, because he wrote to, I don't know if they're baseball cards that he likes. He wrote to them talking about how much packaging they use. So they sent him more cards, and it was ironic because it was all in a lot of packaging. Any other questions? They kind of were stuck on which slides they were supposed to do. All right, so this was actually part of them getting the grant, that they need to present to a board or other people. So that's why we asked if we could do this. It's a good experience for them. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, folks. Good job. Okay. Are there any other public comments? Okay, thank you for closing public comments. Let's see, we have a closed session. We have a closed session and there's nothing to report back. Okay, let's move on to the adoption of the agenda. Everyone look at the agenda. Any changes? If there aren't, can I get a, oh, my.
Oh, on agenda item 9.2,
Okay.
it appears to me that the date is wrong, or it needs to change. It reads something that's redundant a month ago or something like that.
Saturday Academy will be, there was a Saturday Academy in March.
There was a Saturday Academy.
So maybe it's just a,
That's all I know.
There was a Saturday Academy in March of 16th.
so it happens. You'll report on that, yes, okay. Thank you. If there are no other changes, can I get a motion from someone to approve the agenda as presented? So, motion by Mara and seconded by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pass unanimously. The next item is to approve the minutes for the February 27th meeting. Did everyone get an opportunity to look at those? If not, I have them in the packet. And if you want to look at them very quickly. They're down here somewhere. Any questions about the minutes? So those are the ones that were presented to you? Okay. Are they incomplete? Then can I entertain a motion to postpone the minutes until the next meeting, until they've been thoroughly reviewed? Okay, motion then seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So this has been postponed for approval at the next meeting. The next item is our financial reports presentation by Donna. Are we calling Donna? Okay.
She rolled into the mic. I don't know.
Let me see.
Wouldn't it be hard for her to hear us? Your phone's over there?
It has the, well, I think that's it.
I want to say she put it against the mic.
There's a mic here, that's next to the mic.
Yeah. but
You
we
want to
call
put
her
it against the mic? But you have to turn off, you have to mute that because otherwise you'll be some feedback.
This is muted.
Hello?
Hi Donna.
Hello?
Hi Donna, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So we have you on a speaker and yeah, just sort of start for us, please.
You're cutting in and out.
Yeah, our technology isn't helping today. So please, yeah, just go ahead and start with your report, please.
Okay, we'll start with the balance sheet then.
Okay?
The cash in all accounts at the end of February is $1,162,458. The accounts receivable, that is the medical benefits due from Mike Roberts, which he has since paid. The employee receivable is the loan that was paid out at the beginning of the year that will be paid back by June 30th. The summer 125, that's their normal prepayment for the July, the summer that was paid. Now in the prepaid expenses this month, the majority of them are all going to be expensed after July, their subscriptions and memberships, and there's a conference. We also, the rent for Sanute and the self-storage, those were paid on 2/28, so we set them up as a prepaid and will expense them in March so that the books would show two payments in the same month. And then the other prepaid expense for field trip, that will be expensed also in March. The liabilities, those are all just the normal payroll liabilities. The unemployment insurance, that'll be paid, that's the quarter one, that'll be paid in April. Transamerica and Aflac, both of those were paid in March. Any questions on the balance sheet? No.
Any questions
Okay.
for Donna?
Pardon me?
No, there are no questions, Donna. Thank you.
Okay,
Move forward.
then let's go ahead right on over to the income statement. And there really is absolutely nothing unusual to report this time in the income statement. The second interim budget is in there. Nothing is over budget that is, over what we booked at second interim. Everything actually looks right. All of the salaries and benefits are the correct percentages for right now. And books and supplies, those are all billed on your budget for the year. And it looks like there will be plenty of budget to get through the end of the year for your books and supplies and also your services and your operating expenses. So unless you see anything that stands out that you have questions on, our internal review shows everything is as I said, within budget and looks within reason.
Okay.
Real quick, Donna, I think this is more for Juanita than for you, but perhaps. The change, very top line, revenue limit sources, $2,997,951. Does that reflect the $100,000 that
Let
we
me
went through the
get
budget?
over this where you are first.
We had that meeting and we went through and.
Okay, go ahead.
Pieces
I'm
of
sorry,
that.
can you say that again?
All right, back to the income statement, very top line.
Yes.
The second interim revision is approximately $100,000 less than the July 1 budget. And my question was, does that reflect the change from we made back at the meeting a while back?
Este es un mensaje
Oh
urgente.
my lord.
Uh-oh.
What did I do?
You cut her off.
I did?
Yep.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button?
You took the call.
Is that what I did?
Yeah. And cut her off.
That's no. Oh. You know how many times I use that feature? I meant to say ignore. Ignore.
Bye.
Yeah.
Hello?
Donna, I'm so sorry. Another call was coming in and instead of pressing hold or ignore, I pressed answer. So, sorry.
That's okay, no problem. So in answer to your question, the decrease is due to the decrease in enrollment and estimated ADA.
Right, that's what
That's why there's such a large drop.
yeah, we had that meeting and decided to cut certain money anticipating that. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it.
That's all I had.
Okay, all right. Well, unless you have any other questions, this will be a pretty easy month because I really don't have anything that I see that needs to be discussed.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, Donna, thank you for your presentation.
Of course, all right, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Donna.
Have a nice evening.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Moving on to 5.2, our presentation from the OCC.
Is that on, Kat, do you know if it's on?
Nope.
Is that on?
Me now?
No.
Is it the,
I hear you, but not the speaker.
Is the mic on?
Yeah. You know what? I think it might be low.
Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, there it is.
But it's gonna die. No, it's okay.
You're good.
As are we.
I'll give you,
The battery gets too light.
I hope the mic goes before me. I hope the mic goes before me.
right.
Wait, not Mike, it goes before me. The mic. The microphone.
I probably will anyway.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. I thought I had notes from last month, but I'm not sure. And so I bounced from each meeting. So in case I repeat myself from last month, I apologize ahead of time. At the last OCC meeting, the volunteer policy was presented and the visitor policy. And so we went ahead and gave a lot of feedback. There was positive and negative stuff. And so we went ahead and just shared that. Teacher Lucy was there. She took notes. She spoke to us and everybody was very pleased. And we went into detail of what we agreed with, what we didn't, maybe what changes, maybe how we can help with collaboration. So that was awesome. And then we also voted on donating the gala baskets. As you guys know, tomorrow is the gala. And the 5th grade science camp hasn't had a lot of fundraisers to raise money. And I have personally spoken to some parents who financially need help. They don't want to save, but they would like for their child to go, and the child wants to go, but they just cannot. So I had brought this up to the OCC, and they said, why don't we donate whatever other baskets we have gotten donated that are not class baskets, that money towards the 5th grade science camp. And everybody voted, and everybody said, yes, that would be great, that would be a way that we can help them. So I suggest if everybody can go, that would be great, that's a big help for them.
And then also classes, I know, are selling certain things from their basket also, and that money from the class baskets will go back to the classroom itself, so that teachers can use it for whatever they need in there. Like, for example, like a trip or whatever other end of the school activities they have. And then we did elect a treasurer. Her name is Araceli Ortiz. And that was really good. So we have a treasurer now. And then February's evening assembly, it was a success, just like the first one. And so we're hoping to continue that throughout the year. I'm not sure when the next one will be because we'll be on spring break. But probably the first week, right?
End of April, so yes, about 5 classes.
Okay, so end of April, so that should be a big one. And again, it's so well attended, and it's amazing, and again, we just hear positive things from the parents, being thankful that, you know, we're doing it, and that they're able to come, and their family's able to come, and so I just think it's a lot of positiveness for our school, for the parents, for the community, so it's great. And that's really it, I don't have anything else. You guys have questions for me?
Any questions from the board to our OCC president?
How many people are coming to your meeting? Or maybe the last one, how many were there?
So we have roughly, what, like 10?
10 maps.
Around 10 people, yes.
At the last one anyway.
Yeah, and that's usually what it is. We had a couple members that were out ill, as that flu bug is going around, stuff. But yeah, we have 10, and they've been very anxious. They actually just this past weekend helped put the gala baskets that we did collect from the teachers together. I heard that it went good. I unfortunately could not attend, but I heard that they did that. A lot of teachers chose this year to put their baskets together. We had thought about doing like a mystery box. So anybody that brought their stuff for their classroom late, past, I think it was like the 16th, we were going to put it in a mystery box, and that itself was going to be a silent auction item. But we realized that a lot of teachers weren't getting a lot of parents bringing stuff for their basket. So we just didn't feel right doing that. It's not fair. But we did ask the teachers to help put their baskets together if they could, but if they absolutely needed help, then we would do that. And we only did that because last year, one of our moms said that's like her little project was literally here up until like a couple minutes before the gala started and doing everything by herself. And I was like, you are not doing that. You cannot do that next year. So we made sure ahead of time we had enough time so she can do that and still get to enjoy the gala tomorrow. You know, watch your child go home and get all freshened up and stuff. So far what I've heard, she said everything went good. Whatever baskets they did, they were able to do. And then one of the parents is coming tomorrow to pick up the rest of the baskets so that they can be set up at the rodeo grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Kat.
What time is the gala?
At 6:30.
6:30.
I would really encourage you guys to go. But you have to bring your checkbook or cash because we're not going to have the square there. I know, I heard, I know. But, I mean, everything goes back, tomorrow night, everything goes back to the school, to the
I don't
kids.
carry cash anymore.
There's an ATM machine right outside, and you pay $2 to get in.
That's why we're telling you ahead.
That's not an excuse. I'm just saying.
So Robbie back?
Thank you, Kat.
You're welcome, thank you.
Mike is on the road. Rubber band?
So let's move on to item 6, discussions, public hearing items. So second, we're going to review the second draft of the Oasis volunteer policy next. I'm glad to hear that it was reviewed by OCC and their feedback was provided and so on. So Juanita, you want to-
So I have a second draft for you, and what you see in red is some of the changes. Again, it's a draft. In the first line, or the first paragraph, we added or any Oasis staff, meaning that a credentialed teacher could be under the direct supervision of a volunteer, but also any Oasis staff, because all it requires is that there is a fingerprinted staff member or person approved by Oasis. So it could even extend to another fingerprinted parent, but I think keeping it to an Oasis staff member doesn't have to be only a credentialed teacher. So I added that to expand it a little bit more so that it doesn't only fall under the responsibility of a credentialed teacher, but it could be the instructional assistant, it could be the resource supervisor, it could be an administrator, it could be an Oasis office staff member, anybody. Okay? Then we also heard the concern of cost. So I added a few lines here, and I know some families may have it may be a financial hardship for them to cover the cost. So I added here possibly to provide some financial assistance to cover a maximum of 50% of the cost, and it has to be approved in advance before the reimbursement is submitted.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question about, so who does the risk assessment for TV? Like a test, a skin test?
It's a
Is that
skin
what-
test.
Okay.
The physician does it.
All right, right.
A clinic, yeah.
So what are you referring to the skin test here?
The skin test.
Okay.
Yes, the skin test. It's
And
not.
then you're saying that if they need to go through treatment, then 50, or the
No,
the actual
the
test?
actual test,
The actual
not
test.
the actual treatment, only the test.
The actual test is what we do 50%.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
got it.
not the
All right,
treatment,
got
only
it.
the test.
Got it. Okay.
So it would have to probably be specified here that Oasis would provide financial assistance only for the actual test.
But then you go on to say, if no risk factors are identified, an examination is not required.
Right. Well, what happens is if you are identified as potentially having it, then
So
they send
if
you for x-rays and they send you for
Gotcha.
treatment.
All right.
The x-ray may show nothing or may show you need medication.
Okay, so
So there's 3 steps.
I get it. I'm one of those, I'm a carrier. But that, for someone who's never had this done, it just doesn't make any sense. But I get it, I know exactly what it is because, yeah.
So there'll be a 3-step process
I get
for
it.
those families who may not be familiar with the process.
So I don't know if we need to be this specific here, I just think we need to say, this is the test. Maybe there's a separate document somewhere that says the 3 steps and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't necessarily need to be here. It just needs to say, in order to volunteer, you need to pass a TV, that.
You need to have the clearance
Yeah, and then
done,
this
and
is
we will
like,
cover 50% of the cost.
I mean, something, I don't know, I just,
Leave it at
if
that.
someone has never gone through this process, it's gonna be confusing. Anyway,
Okay, so we would ask them for, just like when we ask for fingerprint clearance, is that we ask for tuberculosis clearance.
I think that's it.
And that should be.
Whatever that
clearance.
process is. so
Whatever that is.
That will be.
So once you get clearance from the physician, then you're clear.
Yeah,
makes
just
sense.
present a TB clearance, and that's it. And whatever the process is, that's something internal we can say. Yeah, you're gonna go here, it's the process, we'll pay for 50%, but I don't know if it needs to be part of the policy per se.
What we were trying to address.
To get to what happens after it,
I mean, I just feel like it's too much for someone.
Well, this, like you say, this is the policy, this is.
This is necessarily the procedures of how you're gonna get it
When a
done.
person comes in and says, well, what do I have to do? Suzanne will say,
Yeah,
you gotta go get your chest done.
Right.
Okay, 50% of that,
right,
then bring it back. If
exactly.
you bring it back, good, if you don't. well,
Then you probably won't be able to volunteer.
yeah.
That makes
Right.
sense?
And again, this says that there are some volunteers that if they're not going to have prolonged contact with pupils, with students, they would, this may not be required because we do have volunteers that are here for a presentation.
I think that's perfect. That should be on there.
Yeah.
But I don't know about like,
The process.
anyway, I just, in my opinion, policies just need to state what it is. And if you want if you want a procedure for it, then that's like completely separate. I get it, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Okay, let's move on.
And so item number 4.
Oh, you have a comment?
I just have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
What would be considered prolonged? I'm just curious, like, how long would I need to be around the kids before I get a TV test? Would it be like if I drive them to the field trip? Would it be if I'm in the classroom like all the time? Or like, when would I need one?
I think the non-prolonged is probably someone that comes in to do a presentation, and then we don't see them again. But if you're a parent, I think, and you're gonna be here on a regular basis,
Yeah,
I think that applies.
okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but if it's
One-time thing.
yeah. You have a consultant on site, we probably don't need a TB test, even though they might be in the classroom and so on.
Yeah.
But those of us who are here on a regular basis, if we're gonna be in contact with the children and staff, then probably, yes.
So then item number 4, the number of hours that we had originally proposed was 8. And then the teachers thought maybe 10, and then again, input from the community was given, and so we're up to 12 per week. Per month. And this does not include off-campus field trips, because that was another area that was mentioned about field trips. You go on one field trip or 2 and you're done for the month, but you may have 4 children and then maybe 4 field trips for that month. So this would not apply. This is only in classroom or on campus volunteer hours.
Maybe instead of field trips, we can have field trips or events, because what if it's like the gala or harvest feast, would that count, or anything off
Events,
campus?
special events, special school events, that's something that can be added.
Just because that wouldn't be counted as.
Right.
Okay, so that would be item number 4. Okay, and then item number 6, all volunteers must sign the acknowledgement of volunteer responsibilities under the FERPA before volunteer on campus or in school to sponsor activities. And this, I incorporated it. We have a trifold that just gives basic information to the families about the confidentiality of student information. So when they come in, they know that there are some restrictions on what they are able to share outside, because there is a lot of confidential information and sensitive information that they may have access to, or perhaps even just by the peer interaction with students. And so that needs to be protected. So in speaking with our legal counsel, including Heather Edwards, she helped me with this section to protect the confidentiality of student information. Okay, so they would just sign an acknowledgement saying that they're aware and that they will protect any student information, so it doesn't leak outside to the community or to any social media, which is the biggest concern, that it could leak. So we want to avoid any leaks. And that was it. Those were so I have 2 recommendations now, is for number 2 and number 4. Are there any other questions or recommendations before the next draft is produced?
In number 5,
Yes.
Can we say something about any school staff? Is that just in the classroom, right? Can we?
Okay, so prior to volunteering in the classroom or in school as the volunteers with the to discuss it with the teacher or school staff. Okay, so how about I expand it to prior to volunteering in the classroom or on campus, the volunteer should communicate with the teacher or a staff member to discuss the expectations.
Unless you're referring only to classroom here.
No, we're referring to classroom and on-campus volunteering. It could be a recess, it could be in the office making copies.
Okay.
So yes, so let me look at 5, expanded.
So then we might want to add on campus.
So on campus, yes, on campus.
Right.
Yep.
Yes, and that's why I inserted that volunteer in the classroom or on campus, and or staff member.
And then I do have a suggestion for number 4.
Yes, I'm going back to number 4. Special events.
Number 4, a volunteer may not. Can we positive turn that into positive?
A volunteer may.
Can we just say volunteer hours should not exceed 12 hours per month? And that takes away the may not, which kind of is discouraging from.
Shall not exceed. Okay, exceed.
So a volunteer in the classroom or campus should, or a volunteer should not exceed more than 12 hours per month in the classroom or on campus.
Okay.
So it's just
Yes.
looking at it, and I feel like it gives it a more positive spin than more limiting that. And it just sounds so limiting.
Yes,
Okay.
makes sense.
No, I wouldn't say should not. I would just say. Well, no, should not is like, it's up to 12. Or leave it up to 12 or something like that.
Without
So volunteer up to.
May volunteer up to 12. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, got it.
Well, like you're still saying not to do that.
Volunteer up to. Got it. Yes.
Now we, Back to number 5. I'm sorry. Before volunteering in the classroom, then we sit for another event. What about off-campus field trips? Because in the previous one, we talked about field trips, and this one we just talked about classroom and school events. I'm not sure what we said.
So maybe like the overarching one, the very first one, just say, it says in a sentence that this policy applies to all school-related activities, including, and then you just name them all. So all of them pertain to classroom, field trips, special events, and you just name them all in one sentence, and then you don't have to repeat it every single one of them.
I'm confused, okay. So are you asking to add that at the beginning?
It sounds like that to me.
At the
Yes.
beginning as an introductory sentence? And not as a...
I'm kind of discussing what.
So Mike, can you repeat that again?
Because he's saying in this one, we're only talking about classroom, but then we added a couple other things. I think the policy should be standard pretty much for all school activities, which include, and then you describe what those activities are, and then,
But you see, it's different because in number 4, we're excluding off-campus field trips and we're going to be giving on the minimum hours per se.
yeah, I think, but
It's otherwise indicated.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the exceptions will be made for that one because, yes. So. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, maybe at the bottom, before they sign, it says all, but someone there should say something like that.
It's just a general statement that just says, because you go, it seems like we jump from one to the next and then we're describing each one of the possible scenarios. And just one general statement that just says these policies apply to all of. We're not going to wordsmith it right now.
No.
I just want a general statement that just, wherever it fits. If it fits somewhere, so we make a clarification of.
Right before they sign, I think it would be appropriate for them, right before they sign, to make that.
Kat, did you have a?
It was what she was gonna say also.
The field trip one? Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments from anyone on the board or the audience? All right, okay. That's the second reading of the Oasis volunteer policy. Let's move on to the second reading or draft of the Oasis conditions for classroom and school visitation and removal policy.
That is on page 39 of the attachments. And the Spanish version of all of this is attached and is included marked in red as well. So we could be easily identify them. So number 9, there is a change in number 9. So no electronic listening or recording device may be used by students or visitors in a classroom and or on campus during instructional time without the teachers and executive director's written consent. So I added and or on campus during instructional time. And that's for number 9.
So the person would need both yours, the executive directors, and the teachers? Not just one? Well, number 9, it says and.
And, so should you say or? It says and.
They need both.
I would think that you would need.
And or.
So would it be,
Well, if you put and or.
well, we do have people recording lessons only because we have some teachers that are in the program, but it's for educational purposes and it's only used for that purpose who are in their training program. So that's the only time, and then we do sign authorization for that because the university requires the administrator's signature, and then after that is destroyed, meaning it's not distributed to anyone. So that's why it's it's there. So do we want to say and?
Well,
Or do we want to keep?
I like and, that way they have to talk to two people, I like that. I just want to make sure that it was clear that people didn't, like, well, teachers wrote me this note, so I couldn't, you were there.
Right. And again, I think that having an administrator's signature, and it could be the executive director's or designee, maybe have someone else, another administrator, it could be the executive director or designee, only because we would have more information about specific things that might come up that the teacher might not think of or might not be aware of, that we are aware of, that we can say, probably not a good idea because we have something else going on, or it's just not appropriate at that time or place. Okay, so I'll add to number 9, or designee.
So a field trip wouldn't, like what about a field trip?
A field trip as far as
Recording and all that?
recording device may be used for students, visitors, but this is in the classroom or on campus during instructional time, so a field trip would be off campus. So do we want to include
Well, I
field
don't know,
trips?
I'm just saying.
I hadn't thought about that, I don't think so.
Because kids or even us, I remember as a chaperone, you want to take pictures. The pictures are taken for the yearbook, as memories of those trips that they took. Kids want to take pictures of each other as they have that experience.
Right, yes. Mhm.
I have a question too on that
Yes.
one. I'm just thinking of like our days and the situations that we've had here, and then it says without the teacher and executive director's written permission. But what if something happens out of the blue, they need someone to record, but let's say you're not here,
That's why we're gonna add or designee.
or designate?
Designate.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, we need to add that because it may be that situation where I'm BC and somebody else, or the director is BC and is,
so then to clarify, can the teacher be a designee also?
no,
No.
they would need an administrator or someone from the office.
Okay.
But I think what you're saying is that it will not fly at that moment, because if something happened, well, that's not that fly. You know, they phone, take photos, take a video. This is pretty much more like personal thing,
Yeah.
since it's from the classroom.
Yeah.
So,
And again, this goes back to the confidentiality of student information, because if something is recorded of another student and there's no written consent, it's a liability on us. So. And then the penalty part, that is something that comes straight out of the education code. It's something that is part of the ed code. So, number 3 was added, section 44811.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Can we remove from the title removal policy and add that removal as another section of the policy? So really what you're addressing here is the conditions for classroom and school visitation. Within that policy, there's a section on removal. It just sends this kind of a negative, like you can come to the classroom, but you know what, I can kick you out of that. Like, I get it, but it just, I think we need to start, it needs to be a positive.
Right now it's all mixed, that you can see, it's
That's what I'm
actually,
saying. I think then, I don't think you need to put removal on the policy, on the name of the policy, the title of the policy. It really is a classroom and school visitation policy. And there are some sections that have removal.
okay, so I know, what I can do is divide it into 2. What I can do is have the removal policy at the bottom and cut and paste the removal sections and add them to that.
And keep it in the title?
No.
Okay,
So,
I just feel like the title itself, you don't want policies that have a title with a negative connotation.
okay,
Just
so,
my-
what's
And
gonna
then
happen?
we have a section that says removal. If these are not followed, then there's a removal that we can, and we just outline it, removal. Does that make sense?
It makes sense,
Okay.
it makes sense. So I'll just cut and paste and remove it and edit the title.
The title.
Edit the title.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you took off removal, like you said, and then where it says penalties for
No,
lack of
that's your,
cooperation.
exactly, yeah. One of them being removal. Right.
So, okay, so I'll edit the title and the removal sections, cut and paste. And that will be at the bottom of it, okay? Great ideas. Yes. Any other recommendations or suggestions before the next draft is produced?
Yeah. Yeah, so the first sentence in that policy, we edit while the Oasis, and just keep it, Oasis Public Charter School encourages parents and so on and so forth. So it's, yeah, so it starts with a positive.
So remove the while, and then just start with Oasis Public Charter School encourages parents, blah, 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 blah. And then instead of the comma, you'd start a new sentence. The charter school also endeavors to create a safe environment. So that it sounds
That makes
more.
sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Yes. So the next time I bring I make the changes, with the changes suggested, would we be ready to approve if those changes are noted clearly so that you know where the changes took place? How does everyone feel?
Kat, are you presenting again over there at the OCC? Do you think it needs to go through another read over there? Or do you
I would like for it to go through one more time.
I mean, do we have time for that?
Just because I'm seeing it, but they did have, and you were there to see, they did have a lot of feedback, and I just want to see that.
Because it is in line with our, right before our next board meeting, that the OCC have another.
Yeah, they meet the first 2 days of the month, we meet
Yeah.
at the end of the month.
So I think the goal is to approve it at the next board meeting.
That would be the goal.
Yeah.
If we can get
that'd be
feedback from the community
Sure.
before then, and they do meet the first week of the month.
That'd be perfect, yeah, I
I
think,
would appreciate that.
okay,
I don't want to make the,
sure,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so once I have the next draft, I will send it back to the
Thank
OCC.
I mean, it's going on to the next agenda, so
Yeah.
try to put it on to make sure that we have feedback.
Yeah, oh yeah, I will
Perfect.
put it on tonight, but it'll be ready.
And just remind me when you're ready to post the agenda so I can send it to you and have it ready to you by then,
Thank you.
please. Thank you.
Staffing survey results.
Okay, so we did a survey. We started last year with our survey, and to get an idea who was coming back, that's around this time of the year, and that's how we find out about roughly how many spots we were going to have open. And at that time, we only had 1 spot open. And so that by the end of the year, we ended up with one position open. So this year, again, we did a survey to find out what openings we might have, and also to find out, just get a rough idea of what's keeping Oasis here, what's keeping our community members here, and what's not. So we're asking about satisfaction. How satisfied are they? It's about 8.5 rating out of 10. So we have things to work on, to improve on. Are we ever going to get a 10? That's hopefully the goal, but who knows? Last year it was also about the same. And there were teachers, instructional assistants, support staff, specialty teachers, administration, and office staff. So we got 31 people to respond. We have about 50 staff members, but not everyone is here all the time. For instance, one of our staff members is our speech therapist. She's here twice a week. And then we have as one of our staff members, Kathy, who does our ELD assessment, and then we have Cliff, who's here doing special ed assessment. And they're only here as needed. So they're counted as our group of 50, but they're not here all the time. They're here only for that, to do a task and then they leave. So 31 is a pretty good response, and that's where it's at. So 35% teachers, 22% instructional assistants, 29% support staff. And we have about 3 specialty teachers, that's why you see a 6%. So we have 3. We have a very small staff. How many years have you been at Oasis? A lot of new ones from 1 to 3 years. And I wish Alicia and Mari would take this survey, but that's just a wish that I don't know if it will ever become a reality. They don't use computers, and they just never take it. So I know they're here because they love it. Every year they want to come back, and they are happy to come back, and we're happy to have them with us. But I know they're not part of this because they would probably be in the 13 to 15-year range. But they don't
We
participate.
should do a paper version.
So I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Like print it out and have them fill it out.
It's a good idea. Let me do that so I can redo this. Let me print it out and give it to them and say, okay, don't put your name, just give back to me by the end of the day. So otherwise, they won't do it. So it's a good idea. Let me do a paper pencil version with them.
Yes.
I will accommodate. So I really care about what they have to say. So, anyway, 64% of our staff has been here for between 1 and 3 years, and then the rest of the data you see there. Do you plan on returning next year? The majority said yes. 1 said no, and then a few said not sure. We do know that at least right now 2 of our teachers are not returning, and that is Teacher Rhoda and Teacher Stefania. We announced it to the community during our week at a glance on Sunday. I tried to publish it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So I published this time on Sunday and announced that the Teacher Rhoda is not coming back next year. And a couple weeks ago, I announced that Teacher Stefania was not coming back. She's moving out of the area. We have a not sure, and this staff member is 99% sure, but not 100. She doesn't want me to announce it until she's 100% sure. Changes in employment for her husband, and so they're thinking of moving out of the area. If everything passes as expected, they will be moving. However, she's committed to finishing the school year with us. So 80% said yes, 12% said not sure. So we have about 4 who are not sure about returning. But right now I know of 1. The other 3, I'm not sure why they're not sure. Because they haven't talked to me about that. So, what are the deciding factors? Like, why are you even here if we don't? As you can see, compensation didn't get a lot of ranking here, but work environment and school philosophy had the highest points, I guess. Support systems was next, and then from there, compensation, of course, and that's on the agenda to be discussed. But work environment, obviously, as you see, it's almost 70%, and school philosophy. That's why we're here. So what does Oasis offer that other places don't offer? So from your experience and or knowledge, what is Oasis offering that makes it a supportive learning environment? And they pretty much said everything here, from family seminars, student social and emotional support, academic support, having instructional assistants, specialty teachers, enrichment, and some other things that we offer.
What's other? No, we don't know.
They
Supportive board members?
That too, very supportive and caring, caring board members, I'm sure it is.
I'm sure that was.
There's only 2, but I'll take it.
It's better than none.
Right. Right.
Soda bread, oh yeah, that soda bread. Oh, to show love and care, oh Mike, that soda bread. Mike is guilty.
I had to work out that day, Mike.
We did, Mike.
I'm sure it was worth it.
Very much worth it. It's that soda bread, I don't know what you put in it, but it was good. So from your experience and or knowledge, to what extent is Oasis a different learning environment from traditional schools? And again, the same things, providing the social and emotional support and having instructional assistants in the classroom, offering specialties, enrichment, just all the things that makes us different, definitely was top. And overall, how do you rate Oasis? 8.5. So that was close to what we got last year as well. And any suggestions and recommendations? There wasn't at this time. Oh, there was actually written comments. And I don't know why I didn't print my written comments. I did see written comments. Where are my written comments? I'll bring them to you next time. They're not here, but I saw written comments. There were comments. And so number 10, we always have this
Fun one.
fun one.
Well, it's fun while it's good.
Yes, exactly. I should ask this question when everything's going well and smooth. How much do you love the office staff? And we got an 8 point something, more than 8 points, which is really nice. Okay, so I will be doing what you said is paper pencil to Alicia and Marty, and then I will make sure I have my written comments here because I don't see them. But I know there were written comments. And I don't know why they did not print.
Okay.
Any questions about the survey? No?
Awesome.
Yes, Mike. It's okay, go ahead, please.
Peter's not here, you got the first.
You take his place.
I want to congratulate you, Lucy, in particular, and probably Elizabeth, but she's not here. Because in the number 7, the teacher instructional support definitely got the highest rating amongst the teachers. So something's going right there.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that is thanks to the support of the board who allows to have that position open and provide that, the means to have it. We're blessed to have one coach for 10 teachers or 11, that's necessary, but other places have one for 40 plus teachers on their site. So, if they're lucky, if not, it's for 2 or 3 sites.
Did we already see the one for this families? Did we almost?
Yes, that one was at the beginning, more at the beginning of the year, like in October. Yeah,
Like
the
this, I
family
wonder
one.
if, they're probably not.
They're not the same, the other
Not
one
the
had
same,
about
right.
20 plus questions, and it
Okay.
was more related to there were other questions that were not the same.
Yeah.
This was more about, how happy are you and are you planning on coming back?
Sure.
And what's keeping you here, or what's not keeping you here.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to 6.4, an update on the kitchen remodel.
Yes, kitchen remodel. Okay, so some of you may know, have you know a little bit about the history of Oasis? Our kitchen was donated. So it was recycled from a rental home. And so it's now in need of an upgrade, the whole kitchen, not just the cabinets and the countertop and the floor. So what we did an inspection of that kitchen, and it's really sad to see it. So at this point, we are getting proposals from 3 different companies, and I have been in communication with at least 2. I need to follow up with the 3rd one. That was the first one that came in, and I haven't heard back from that company. And one of them already put a proposal together. He's going to put a second proposal of another design. The conversation between the companies and I right now is more about materials. What do you want? Do you want quartz, or do you want granite, or do you want stainless steel for the countertops, or do you want block? Do you want block? Because that's what's going to make, I guess, the price go up or down, and flooring materials as well. There's going to be no changes. The plumbing is going to remain in the same spot. The stove is going to go in the same spot. So electrical and plumbing will not change. I did ask them to please check with the City of Salinas Building and Planning Department to find out if there is any permits required and to take their handy-dandy plans and ask, because I don't want a surprise. And I'm still waiting for them to let me know if permits are required. I'm sure some type of permit will be required, even if it's basic. So we're hoping to upgrade our cabinets. Everything will come out. Cabinets, countertops, flooring, double sink, a new stove with 6 burners. And Estela is very happy. She said she'll cook for us any day, anytime, if she gets that. The refrigerators are fairly new. We bought them from Costco, energy efficiency, and they're stainless steel. And the health department said those are fine, we can keep those. So with all of that, we are estimating the cost to be between 30 and 40. Kitchens are super pricey. They're not cheap. And I did ask the contractors to please provide me with good quality cabinets. I didn't want the prefab Home Depot made cabinets because those are cheap and they break very easily. And when they break, you can't repair. They're unrepairable. They're disposable kind of. So I asked them to please have something more sturdy, more durable, just because we have a lot of adults and sometimes children who help in the kitchen. We do have locked all of our knives and anything that may be dangerous to the children, so they do go in there and they do cook. So since children have access to the kitchen, we want something durable. And we'll see the designs. The contracts committee will include a board member, like in the past. It will include an OCC member, like in the past, another parent, and a teacher or a staff member and an administrator. So we can look at proposals and cost involved with that in designs. So between 30 and 40 at this point. I told them keep it at 35 because we need to save or have at least a cushion of about 5,000 for permits. I don't anticipate it being a cost of 5,000, but you never know. I said keep it at, hopefully at 35 top, and leave us some wiggle room for review and planning and building permits if required, which I anticipate will be. Any questions about the kitchen and why we need to upgrade our kitchen? No? Okay. And we haven't gotten to the flooring piece because they asked me, what floor do you want? Anything durable? Anything that just can't see the stains on and the grease?
Do they have floor they clean themselves?
Self-cleaning. Okay, that was
Okay,
the information.
6.5, salary increases for all staff members.
Okay.
This is this current year.
This is for next year. This is for next school year.
So 18, 19, not 17.
Not 17, 18. No, correct. That would be for 18, 19.
Okay. This says,
So,
the
so
agenda
17,
says 17, 18.
7, 18, no. That would be for approval in 17, 18, for implementation 18, 19.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
okay. So salary increases for implementation for 18, 19. We have looked at teacher salary schedules and administration. We do have support staff as well, and we do not have a schedule for them. I did propose a couple of them. I had a couple of other ones to propose, and then Donna said to slow down and just consider our budget and look at the budget as a whole and project 5 years out, And Donna has the 5-year teacher projection already in her hands. And I also, before, did a market analysis where I presented to you what teachers would be making in traditional settings based on what we offer to them. Keep in mind that those salaries was not or did not reflect what the actual districts are offering. What do I mean? Well, a local district offers up to 15 years of prior teaching experience. Where I place the teacher, that specific teacher, maybe teacher number one, was on the year 10, giving them 7 years of prior teaching experience if they have been here 3. So I don't know if I'm explaining myself. If that teacher went to that district, they would get 15 years of credit prior teaching experience. We only offer 7. So I place them based on the 7, not based on the 15. Because you would have to go and ask them, how many years? Soledad, for instance, is offering up to as many as you bring with you. If you bring 25, they place you at 25. So there's local districts out there that offer every year of experience that you bring with you. Other ones offer up to 19. Others offers up to 15. And many of them offer signing bonus and bilingual stipend, and you name it. So they have a lot of other incentives they offer. So that's on the teacher side. And we have support staff that I'm asking the board to consider. Donna and I we'll have a conversation next week about the July 1st budget, because I have to start working on the LCAP, and that's, the budget needs to be attached to that. Is to consider a raise. I'm asking for a 2% raise for all other positions. For teachers, I have presented to you a 2% increase and a 3% increase to the schedule. So I'm hoping that you'll consider that for application for teachers is for 2018 to 2020 for the next 2 years. And that would make us a little more competitive when it comes to hiring. Agustin and I also had a brief conversation about should we start offering a bonus at the end of the year, or like a stipend type at the end of the year for teachers and all staff members that the budget is able to sustain. And we've done it before in prior years.
Based on performance?
No, it's not based on performance. It's based on what the budget can sustain. So it would be a percentage or a flat amount to different staff members. So that's a possibility as an incentive. If you stay with us, out of gratitude, appreciation, and love for you, our budget is able to sustain giving you $500 by the end of the
Well, I wouldn't quantify it, but.
Well, I mean, an amount, whatever the budget can sustain.
So if there's, instead of the entire remaining balance at the end of the year going into a reserve, then we look at, for consideration, some kind of bonus or incentive for continuing with this and wanting to stick around and be part of the school staff.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's contingent entirely on how we end up with the budget at the end of the fiscal year.
Yes. And that can happen, both things can happen. I'm asking the board to consider at least a 2% increase, at least a 2. Now, if by the end of the year there is a fund balance that allows for that, off that year's budget, not off the reserves, off of that year's budget, it has to be clear that we're not going to use the reserves. It has to be off of that remaining balance end of the year for that school year, that the board can make a decision to give bonuses or stipends to the staff for those who are returning or that are committed to coming back for the next year. So that's where we are. Donna and I will be having a lengthy conversation about whether the budget can sustain a 2% increase, given the fact that there's another conversation we need to have, and that is we currently offer 10 classes, and so if we offer 9, there's less revenue. Same expenses when it comes to electricity, when it comes to benefits, when it comes to rent, for instance. So that conversation, I'm sure Donna and I will be having a lengthy one to see how is that going to make us look financially if we don't have all the 10 but rather 9 classes. And it's due to teacher shortage, not due to anything else. So anyway, any questions about the 2% conversation that I'm proposing across the board for support staff, administration, and teacher salary schedules?
So if I understand correctly, you will have this discussion with Donna to see if the budget...
If the budget sustains, the conversation with Donna will be, can the budget sustain a 2% increase for everyone? And then if the answer is yes, can it sustain for the next 5 years based on the teacher salary schedule? Because that's the biggest, that's the highest expense, and that is something you can actually project and anticipate. And also, this has to be taken into consideration due to STIRS. Contribution keeps going up every year. And support staff, they don't get STIRS. So there's no contribution or PERS. They don't get any. So support staff don't get PERS. So we don't have to worry about that expense, but we do have to consider a raise as well for them. Okay? And STIRS is a state requirement. It's not something we choose to. So, any questions about that?
No, we look forward to seeing the projection.
I just have a quick question. I was reading what you sent about the 9 classes, so it's not a for sure thing. You guys are still talking about it?
We'll have that conversation in a second. Can you hold off on that?
Oh.
So we can have an in-depth conversation?
Oh.
That's why I didn't want to go into too much detail.
Okay.
If it's next on the agenda, I can address it, but I wanted to have, do you have questions about the 2% increase?
No.
No, then we'll talk about that, because I want to have that in-depth conversation. It's a good one we need to have.
Okay, let's move on to administration, 7.1, Saturday Academy.
Okay, Saturday Academy, let me go all the way up. So let's see. I'm scrolling up. Okay, so 7.1 Saturday Academy. Okay, so it's Saturday Academy is being offered during PD days. Very successful. We had 28 students on March 16th. Which is here, and that's not what is noted above. It says it will be offered, well, it was offered on that Friday, and we had 28 students attending. That's a whole class, just a little bit more over a whole class. Our class average is about 25. So 3 staff members provided the support and the instruction, so that was well attended. We will provide it March 23rd through the 29th, and we have staff members committed to teaching our students so they can make up. Students who have been suspended are not eligible to attend and make up their absence. They are provided with independent study packets. This is only for excused and unexcused, not for suspensions. Okay. Any questions about 7.1? No?
And so it looks like we're gonna fare out okay with making up some of the.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
It looks better than
it did before. Okay. 7.2, staff recruitment.
Okay, so as many of you may be aware, the teacher shortage. There aren't enough teachers out there. I attended a teacher recruitment fair at Hartnell on March 2nd, and I was able to collect, I want to say 8 or 9 teacher resumes and contact information. And I contacted every single one of those whose paperwork shows that at least they have a BA and have passed the CBEST. Because if they have at least those 2 things in place, they can be eligible for a PIP or a STIP, which is a temporary 1-year permit. And out of those, we scheduled several interviews and lesson demonstrations. And we made 4 offers at this time. We made 3 at first, 1 declined, and 2 will let me know by tomorrow, and the other one accepted. So once 1 declined, we went to the other one, and she accepted. She'll be here tomorrow to fill out some paperwork. We will be applying. None of those had a full credential, like a clear, professional clear. None of those. So, and through EdJoin, I received 1 application only this far, and it's been over a month that we had it open. Only 1. I contacted local districts asking them, how is it going for you? And it's not looking great either. One district said they had 24 openings, they had 24 openings, they made 20 offers, only 4 had returned their offer back to say, yes, I accept. And many had declined. So they were panicking also as well. Like, oh my goodness. So, again, we're not the only ones. It's affecting the whole county. Cost of living, perhaps. It's one definitely possibility. The universities are not providing or graduating enough teachers fast enough. And that's another reality. So it's a little bit of everything. The profession again has become a lot of work, little pay, and that's a reality. So it's probably that. People are going into technology or other fields that pay a little more. So that's another challenge for us. We have signed up for another one on the 25th, another job fair on the 25th. Every year, at least last year, we were invited to CHUMB to the job fair, and this year they missed us in their email invitation, and it passed. When I called and asked, they said, oh, we just had it last week. And I said, I knew it was around this time of the year, and they missed inviting us. So I asked them to please include us. Additionally, I contacted local human resources directors who I have a good relationship with them, and I asked that they would please share their contact information with us of where they go to recruit. So I said, I'm sorry, I know I'm asking you for a lot. I'm asking you, give me your contact information so I can go and compete with you, but I'm no competition at all, because you definitely have better offers than I do as far as benefits and salary and so on. And very willing. I didn't hear a no, you can't have it. Sure, here it is. They recruit all over the place. So I will make those contacts with those universities and colleges to see. One of them will be CHUMB, Dr. Walt, sends his service learners here. One of those service learners came to speak with me, and she was very interested. She was going to meet with her advisor and see if she could transfer from the regular program to this intern program. So I still have to make that contact with Dr. Walt, but we did have one initial meeting about placing students here at Oasis for service learning. That's where we are with our efforts, and like I said, we so far, the two other applicants will be in the same situation. We would have to apply, one of them for a STIP or a PIP, and the other one for a preliminary credential, so they would have to be in the induction program, if they accept. All new, meaning none of them bring or have experience with them. No prior teaching experience. They're brand new.
So they're all mine.
They're all Lucy's. One of them was specifically looking into charter schools only, like she only wanted charter schools. So I know she looked into our local Monterey Bay and Bayview because of her own statement. So, and there aren't that many out there that are looking only for charter schools because the offers are so tempting. They are contemplating all the offers. Any other questions about teacher recruitment efforts or staffing in general? Okay, I don't anticipate any other openings in any other areas at this time.
And I'm going back to CAT.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, but that's coming back to 7.3.
7.3. Classes for.
Classes. Well, we are faced with the challenge of not having enough teachers. And I met with Lucy, and we had more than one meeting, but we specifically met this week recently and talked about we need to have a plan A, B, C, and D. Because if A fails, which means hire teachers and get their permits or credentials and get them on board, that would be plan A. Plan B, now what? What do we do? So we talked about plan B and C, about what do we do in case that plan B is let's just offer 9 classes until we can fill the 10th position, the 10th class. What I want to avoid is starting a class with no teacher, or even worse, starting a class with a 30-day sub, and then in 30 days having to say, families and children, you have a new teacher. Then 30 days, families and children, you have a new teacher. And then by the end of the year, families and children, you had 10 teachers in the year. That would be devastating for the class, for the stability, for the well-being of those children, for the continuity of their education and their whole emotional and social and academic stability and success. I don't think it's responsible to do that. And I don't support that. I would not want any of your children or my children to be placed in a class where I know in advance that they will have a different teacher every 30 days. So that, again, I'm only sharing my professional as well as my personal view on this. Open up for questions.
Which classroom would not be, is it here?
No, it doesn't say, but I'm anticipating kindergarten. So instead of offering 2 kinders, we would offer 1 kinder. That's usually the biggest number of students that we bring in. We always bring in 40 plus kinders. We would bring in potentially only open up 1 class. Yes.
So wouldn't it impact the size of the other classrooms?
It would not impact the size of the other classrooms. It would just impact the number of new students accepted in kindergarten. Kat?
I didn't raise my hand. No, I was just curious too what classroom. I kind of figured it was kinder too. But
Yes, kindergarten.
I can understand with the teacher shortage, And I can understand as to what you're saying about changing different teachers, as that has happened before, and my daughter has been one every year was affected up until, recently. So it is emotional for the kids, and it is not something that parents like. So, I think that actually, the way you presented it and what you're saying makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And obviously it has implications, budgetary implications.
Budgetary implications, big ones, because our ADA will be affected, and then in turn also our SB 740 rent monies will be impacted, and our special ed monies will be impacted. So it has an impact all the way around in the budget. That's why I need to have a serious conversation with Donna about now what. Because although the savings in having one less class is minimal in comparison to the revenue.
Right.
So I'm aware of that. I'm a mathematics brain, and I was thinking ahead, OMG, this is not looking good. Multiply 8,000 times 24, and then look at the revenue and look at the expenditures for that one class. It doesn't compare. But the other alternative is spread and pray, and spread the word that you need teachers, and pray that you get somebody, and in 30 days another teacher, 30 days another teacher. If they're good for 30 days, sometimes you gotta dismiss them in the second or third day. Like, thank you so much. Not anymore. Because the children will sense that. Again, you and I don't have to go into detail and explain how difficult it will be for the teacher as well as for the students to have stability, because they know in 30 days they'll get a new person. So, it's not.
How much time do we have?
Between now and June?
Okay, so,
We just
it's targeted recruitment, it's, right?
Yes,
so-
we are doing
If we already
advertising.
know do we know which teacher or classroom that we need to, you wouldn't be looking for, you're looking for the kinder?
I'm looking to recruit for third, fourth, and first grade teacher.
No kinder.
No kinder.
Sure, okay.
I'm okay in kinder. I got enough. I'm looking to recruit.
But
and
so if, and I.
Third, fourth, and kinder.
Apply for-
in first.
It's for a closed session, okay.
So my first grade teacher, Rhoda, is not coming back, so throw that one.
Sure, but I get it, I'm just saying, so major planning needs to happen in
Yes.
the next.
Major
right
planning
after-
conversation.
Right after spring break. I
Yes.
think this should be priority.
It's going to be top priority. We also put an ad in the newspaper. We've tried everything. I want to say that we do have an interview and demo tomorrow at 3:45, and then we have another candidate after spring break who she wants to come in and do a demo in the afternoon and an interview in the afternoon after spring break. So I have a couple of more that I'm still hopeful that, and I had 2 cancel on me. So they said, no, thank you, even though they were on my schedule. So, they had an offer and changed heart. That's where we are. So yes, major planning, major discussion, in-depth and serious discussion is happening between administration, staff, Donna, a board, a community, going back to the OCC next time and saying, I was hoping to find teachers, but I can't seem to attract teachers or openings. So, again, we're all going after the same applicant. Unfortunately, there's too many openings, too many people retiring or moving, not enough applicants. So, that's pretty much how it's going. And the other piece that I have to mention is that Oasis is not only looking to hire a qualified teacher. Oasis is looking, and that's why we do the demonstrations, the lesson demonstrations, and there's observations that we do to see how they interact. They're coming for half day to be with us. And we don't give them the best, easiest class. We give them the one that we know has celebrities that will make them think on their feet at every second. And then we do the interview, and we include parents, and we invite OCC members to attend and board members. Thank you, Mike. Mike has been able to attend a few of them. And I want to let the board know and the community know that Oasis is not only looking for qualified teachers, we're also looking for qualified and committed, responsible teachers. We need them to be committed. We need them to understand who we are and also the responsibility of having a class the whole year. And these are lives that are touching, they're impacting. And even if someone were to apply and was qualified, I would check references, which I've done. Actually, I did for one of them. I checked references and I was like, oh, thank you so much. No. And I said, no, thank you. Because the references raised concern. And again, without going into any disclosure or confidential information, what I'm saying is that I'd rather go into mode plan B and C mode, which Lucy and I talked about plan C mode also, which I don't want to disclose at this point because it's still in the making of.
Very raw.
It's very raw. It's very raw. Very rough. So we need to make sure that it's a good fit for Oasis. Coming here is not teaching from a book, from a pacing guide, from 8 to 3, and then you go home. It doesn't work like that here. It's very different. And we need people who are devoted, who are 100% committed, whose values and principles are aligned with our mission and vision in our practice. And if it's not aligned, then they don't belong here. So we can select our staff. Families come in, they select us, they choose us. We have to choose the right staff members. So I just want to make sure I let you know, because if there's applicants that look qualified, well, we got to look beyond that. Okay?
Thank you.
Questions?
Life?
No?
Any
Life?
questions?
No?
No? Life after school? I'm sorry, life after school, safety procedure protocols?
Yes, we have started to do some drills with them, and we have them on the calendar now, because Life After School program, well, we use the same ones we have. We just have to adjust it a little bit, only because they are spread everywhere, and there's K through 6 in the same groupings. So we're doing drills, it's going really well, and I feel confident that the more we do it, the students and the staff will be aware of what do you do in case of blah, and they will do great, and everyone will be safe.
They're not any different than what you already have for the rest of
There's nothing different than what we already have in place. No, it's the same. We're actually using the same protocols and procedures.
Any questions about that?
These are fire drills, I presume lockdown.
All of
that
those.
kind of stuff?
Yes, all of the same ones. And they're on the calendar, so we have a calendar, so we know that we need to do one month at least. Okay.
Thank you. 7.5, possible vehicle options.
Okay, well, I have contacted other dealers. So dealerships have, one of them provided me with an estimate. I'm waiting for a couple more. I followed up with one, and he said, oh, I sent it to you via email. I said, I don't know what email you sent it to. I have not received it. Please resend it again. So far, the price ranges from $34 to $39 for each unit. That's all the information I have for you. I've also asked the teachers to please fill out a chart, I guess, with all of the field trips they have gone or would like to go, and the distance, the mileage distance, and for them not to think about budgetary constraints. To just think, oh, I wish I could take my kids to blah place, so that we can then say, okay, some of them are doable, some of them might not, but at least we can see what the teachers are hoping for if we had our own transportation. Because sometimes that's a limit for them to think, let's go to the exploratorium in San Francisco. It's cost, drivers, and all of that. It may discourage them. But if we did have the resources, where would you like to go? Kind of question. So I told them it would be due by the time we get back from break at this first week, so I can work on that and present that to you. Because that was asked of me the last time we were here. I didn't want to ask the teachers to have it ready for me before the meeting, only because there were conferences being planned, and just too much going on with gala. And I thought if I add one more thing to their plate, I think I'm gonna be out of a job the next day. They'll say, you're fired, you can't be doing that to us. And it's understandable, I've been a teacher before, so I didn't want to add one more thing to their plate. But after spring break, it's reasonable to ask for them to fill it out with their, whoever they team plan. Any questions about the vehicle, the estimates?
Nope. We're gonna pass up the kitchen remodels, we
Yeah.
just talked about it.
Mhm.
HVAC unit replacement.
Yes, our maintenance company did an inspection of the units. 2 are ready to be replaced. 1 is in its last leg, so it's good for a little bit longer, maybe not for much longer. So I said to him to give me a proposal for all 3 units. So he gave me a proposal for 2, and I said no, all 3. The reason being is that if this other unit will last for 6 months, then you have to, again, get the permits, do all the process, and bring the crane. You have to rent the crane, and it's very expensive. So I said, if you're gonna get the permit, go through the process and get the crane here, you might as well replace all 3. Because I don't wanna end up with 6 months later, we gotta go through this again. And he said, that's a good point. It's a whole other brand and size, so he said he has to get me a price, and I also said, make sure you include any permit cost, maybe not the cost of the permit, but the cost of the process of the permit. I have 1 estimate, I'm waiting for 1 more. We did contact other companies, and they do not want to come. So we have 2, it's better than none, or than 1. So Suzanne was calling companies around asking, would you give us an estimate? And I say no. And I called other companies, and there are very few that do commercial size HVAC units. Very few. Actually, there's like 3 in the area. The other ones do residential mainly, but not commercial. So they declined because they're not in that business of doing commercial.
And it's just the units, not the.
No, it's just the units, not the ducting and, it's all just the units.
Okay, all right.
Just the units, they need to be replaced. They're already there, they should need to be replaced. I guess they have a lifespan of 15 years, and they've been there before we moved in, so they said it's time to replace them. In our contract, it says that Oasis will replace units and maintain them, so they have to be replaced.
We overlooked that.
Somebody overlooked that in 2008. So I was like, no, don't say that. I read it and my heart dropped to the bottom of my feet.
Okay. Any questions from the board on those?
It's
Okay.
pretty cold in here right now.
I know, we don't want to lose this, right?
West Coast cold. So I don't know what the problem is.
Okay, so the last one, 7.8.
Yes.
We paid for our permit. It's supposed to be an over-the-counter application and process, but no, the city had to do it their way.
Yes.
And the architect was not happy about that. So there was communication back and forth between the city and the architect about what's going on with you. So they accepted the plans.
Good.
Whoever's going to review will review and will get back to us.
They haven't accepted.
They haven't, but they took the money, they accepted the money.
They haven't approved.
They have not approved that, they accepted that, but they haven't approved anything. So I'm in communication with them about this space structure, and it should be an easy process, but they're not making it easy, and the architect was pretty unhappy to see that it was not an over-the-counter process.
Okay.
Okay? There's nothing special to do. Actually, I was happy to hear there was no grading required, there was no this and that required. It was supposed to be a straight shot of replacement of the tiles and the structure. That's it. Like no grading, no this, no that. And I thought, whoa, that's nice. He said, no, it's in compliance. The engineer said we're in compliance. Okay.
All right,
That's it.
let's move on to unfinished business action items, resolutions. 8.1 is a contract with JP O'Connor for board development. We talked briefly about this last time. There's 2 proposals here. Why are they?
Is that right? Did I do that?
There's one that's one's 8,500, the other one's 7,500. They look identical. We'll take the 7,500.
We'll take the 7,500?
Yes, they is.
Okay. Yes, I know why. 7,500 is without her expenses, of travel expenses. 8,500 is everything included. Including travel expenses, meals, everything included.
Okay.
So if you pay 85, all included, 75,
Good deal.
7,500.
If she spends one night 10 times, it's gone.
Right.
That's double the amount.
That is
Without
correct.
sending her to get Starbucks or.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, does that make, does that clear? Yeah.
I don't know if it's clear there in the proposal, so.
Well, when I read it and I spoke to her, she said 85 is all included, 75 is I submit my receipts for reimbursement.
Oh, I see.
So
Reimbursements
we're still
for
there.
copying gas to be
And
determined.
it's not on.
And
the-
travel
Expected to be-
And travel expenses.
Is this a one-day thing?
It would be it's not a one-day
No.
thing. No, it's not a one-day
It's an
thing.
ongoing.
It's an
so
ongoing.
The conversation we had is that other boards receive board development throughout the year. And we have traditionally just done it once a year. And it's best that we get it on an ongoing basis. And so this proposal has 10 trainings for a half an hour each. So we'd be getting development at each one of the board meetings. And so will the audience, for that matter, right?
Yes.
Because they're not separate trainings for,
They will be part of the agenda.
very well.
They will
So
be
maybe
the same evening.
we can invite some OCC leadership to be part of it, because it's all part of board development.
That would be great.
Board development as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, everyone's gonna get development, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, staff and the
Well,
public,
whoever wants to
OCC,
attend.
anybody,
Do the highest.
Yeah, the 8,500.
the 8,500.
Okay,
That's
so
why I
any
asked for two
questions?
proposals.
Yeah, any questions about the two proposals we have in front of us? May I have a motion to approve?
$1,000, $800 a half hour.
I approve.
You approve the
I don't know.
$8,500?
Remember that she has to plan, do a lot of planning ahead of time. It's not just show up and, oh, good, okay.
I didn't mess around. 8,500.
Move to approve.
I move to approve.
See, that's a sign,
$8,500.
that's a sign.
The $8,500.
Can everyone wave?
Yeah, they're not.
Is it a timer? Sorry.
Oh.
Children not.
I have to go.
Okay. No, so let's speed it up, guys. Can I get a second from the board, please? Okay, seconded by, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Okay, passed unanimously. Updated bylaws, did everyone get a chance? Did everyone in your group, OCC, reviewed, everyone's happy with what is come forth? The administration, are we happy with what we have in front of us? Board, you want to look at, anyone not have a chance to look at it? I say if the OCC members are okay and the administration is good to go, then I would like to entertain a motion to approve the OCC bylaws as recommended. Motion. Okay, motion by Nora. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Mike? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. The calendar, can everyone get a chance to look at the school calendar for 18-19? Manita, are there any changes or anything major? That
Yes, there are changes from last time.
Okay,
Anything major? No. Charter schools are required to provide 175 instructional days. We're also required to provide a minimum instructional minutes per different grade levels. So kinder is 34,000 and so on and so on. It gets higher as the kids get older. So when I contacted CDE, they said 175. What's on the website is what it is going to be for 18-19. Then I had 177 in there, and for ADA purposes, there was a conversation about that, and we decided to find a way to make it 180. So we found a way to make it 180 by doing a half day at the beginning of the school year and a half day in June, the last 3 days of school, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in June. And so we're able to add some more days. Then I had to do the minute calculation. I sent it out to the community via Parent Square. And the calculation is right. So we are okay for instructional minutes for kinder through 6. So given this calendar with the minimum days and the full days.
And it's gone through?
Through OCC, through the staff as well.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the 18-19 academic calendar?
I move.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All against? Passed unanimously. There you go. 8.4, declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the next academic year, 18-19. Is this a requirement by someone?
Yes, by CDE, whenever you apply for a STIP, a PIP, or anything that's less than a preliminary or professional clear. Anything in the alphabet soup that you apply for that is not a clear professional, clear or preliminary, you need board approval to have people with less than all the requirements that the CTC might consider for a full credential.
And once it's approved by us, they automatically approve it?
No, once it's approved by you, then I send it off to them, and then they have it on their file, so I can apply up to, for 4 teachers, up to 4.
Okay.
And you see what I know? For 3, and then I have 4. Like, wait a minute, it's supposed to say 4, not 3. Do you see that?
There.
It says 3 instead of 4.
Oh, okay. Oh, 3 and 4?
3 and 4? No.
Actually 4.
It should be 4. 4, 3, and it's like, why does it say 3? It should say 4. 3, 4. So 4. And then if I need, let's say hypothetically, if I needed a 5th, then I have to come back to you and say,
I need another one.
I need another one,
Okay.
and then I apply.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this document as presented?
Oh, it needs a correction.
No, the document itself is correct. No, it does need a correction. The document itself, you have 3 and then 4.
Right.
That's why.
That small change of wording.
Changing wording, so
Okay.
4.
Okay.
That's word.
So, can I get a motion to approve with the corrected number of requested teachers?
I move to accept this paper with the correction of 4 or 3.
Fully qualified.
So fully qualified
Great.
educators.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And against? Passes. Okay. A contract with Evergreen Associates LCC. Here's the contract. Is this the contract itself in front of us? Or proposed?
It's a proposal.
Okay.
Once it's approved, it's a contract. Once they sign, it's a contract.
And they're going to evaluate our
Program.
program.
Yeah, they come in and they do observations, then they speak with parents, OCC members. They've done it before, they've done it once before the last renewal. They speak with administration, board members, just different entities, and then they ask for a lot of documentation that we provided to them. And they evaluate that against the charter to see how are we doing and where do we need to grow or improve on.
Okay.
So recommendations, pretty much like a review. It's a review.
And then what do we do with it once it's?
Once it's received, then we receive it, the board reviews it, and the OCC obviously and the staff, and then we say, okay, who's responsible for recommendation A? OCC, recommendation B, board.
Okay.
So we each take a part, and then we come back and work on that.
Very well. Can I get a motion to approve 7,500 plus travel expenses for Evergreen and Associates? Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Okay. Passes. And then the last one is the funds for the HVAC units. We don't have estimates.
No,
right?
well,
So
we
it's
do
just-
have estimates. I have 3 estimates,
Okay.
and the highest estimate right now is in the 34,000,
Okay.
and I'm leaving about 1,000 for permits.
Okay.
So my highest, right now is the highest, and I'm asking for allocation, not approval of any one contract,
Okay.
because
Okay.
it has to come out of the reserves. I don't have it in the budget for this year, so it has to come out of the reserves in order for me to replace them.
Can I get a motion to approve a $35,000 allocation from reserves to replace the HVAC units?
Is that 35 for both of them together?
For all three?
All three.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll move the motion.
Okay, may I get a second, please?
A second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. So many
All
of
those
them.
against
The
say.
ones who are against? Can you
No.
explain it to the
It's
children?
passing that.
Why are you?
It's like 35,000, everyone's like, okay. That's it for our unfinished business action items. So the next we have our announcements.
Yes, announcements, the new family orientations, one will be on April 25th. We'll schedule more in May and June. Right now, we only schedule it up to April because I need to see how many openings I'll have and how many teachers I will have. And Saturday Academy was on March 16th during a professional development, and so that shouldn't be there. This is not an announcement, but it happened already. And Oasis will offer Saturday Academy during spring break for any student that has an excused or unexcused absence. And it will be that first week of March. And any children that was suspended is not eligible for to make up since they get an independent study packet to make up for their absence. And that's pretty much it. So for future agenda items, I only have those two items and I will bring those back. And the gala is tomorrow at 6:30. I was trying so hard to keep it a secret from Nora. And
You were.
I was
It's
caught.
her bidder, right? Your competition?
It's my competition. Yeah, it's my pure competition. Yeah, jewelry and the silent auction is brutal between her and I. So I tried though. I tried. I did my best.
Hopefully, all of us, or many of us, can attend tomorrow.
Yes.
Good shifts. No, we can attend, we just can't talk about business.
With cash.
Right.
Cash. Rather
We
cash
have-
and checks.
After checks.
Cash or checks.
And then we have one other announcement, there's a new baby in the house.
There's a new baby in our family. Yes, baby Grayson Bernhardt was born.
On Pi Day.
Oh, Pi Day. Yeah, I know Elizabeth's best subject for a math guru. I know. So he's a week old and he's now at home. They're both at home. C-section, unfortunately, and that's. I know. Poor her. But she's doing well, and baby's doing, of course, well. So they're both at home. We still have plans. She still has plans to return in late August, early September to be with us. In the meantime, she's taking care of this baby that's growing fast, super fast, I'm sure. So she has sent us pictures, and he's healthy, and she's doing great. So
One picture.
they're all email. I'll forward them to you. Yeah, I'll share this with you. I will. Special baby Grayson.
It's a new member of the board.
Okay.
Just like her.
If there are no other items for tonight.
No other items for tonight at this time.
Okay. Call this meeting closed at, what time is it?
8:30.
8:30.
Thank you guys, thank you everyone for being here, thank you for the